Yeah, unless there's any question about it, you can like.
It's not looking up.
If there's any question.
Can you prove me? Let's see. Thank you.
All right, do we have sound? Are folks able to hear us in the chat? Might be a bit of a delay, so. Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us for the September meeting. Let's see, we'll go over a few updates. I don't know if anybody from the board, did the board have any updates? Anything from the board? Board members?
Oh God, am I really bored?
No.
No.
Allie?
Hi. Treasure. No. We didn't even.
Okay. I thought I'd check. It'd be okay. I would be remiss if I didn't ask. So that is Tuesday oh
Tuesday the 12th.
Tuesday the 12th at 6:30 on the Anime Twin Cities YouTube channel. Okay. All right. We'll move into department head updates. I had a few come in through email. So let me just get through.
Big update first, because all the department heads now.
Ah,
all
well,
the department members.
sure, I can do that.
Would you like the docs again?
No, I think you got it posted. We'll just go to that. Okay. So, one of the things that we've tried to do in the last, well, it's probably been about the last 5 years or so, is shift some of the departments into areas where they are working together, combined teams, things like that. So we've continued a little bit of that. Excuse me. And as I said in the leadership meeting, while we very much love and appreciate our island titled names and our mascots, and we can probably continue to use those internally out there on resumes and business cards. The director of Honshu division doesn't doesn't equate as well in the business world. So trying to take that into consideration as we've shifted into at least a bit of a larger convention. Um, we've retitled we've retitled the divisions into operations, sales and recreation, communications, and convention programming. There have been a few moves just to help facilitate that. Like I said, similar uh, departments that will be working very closely with each other, um, shared initiatives, that sort of thing. So what we'll do is this will be emailed out, um, and we'll make sure that there's coverage of this. But in just letting folks know what we're looking at now, we have Matt. He'll be in charge of the operations division. That will have safety, facilities, logistics, reservations, volunteers, Volcon, and accessibility, which is a new department. Brittany will have sales and recreation, which is tabletop gaming, video gaming, exhibitors, which is Exhibit Hall and Artist Alley, merchandising and registration. Kristen will have the communications division, which is technology services, themes, marketing and social media, and photography. And Allie will have convention programming, which is the programming department, room parties, cosplay, guest relations, and video. Do you want to say something about that?
Leo, I was really upset to hand you over to Allie, but I was like typing up a very like the email to like start the transition, and then you walked in the door. I was like, we'll just chat. It's fine.
He knew there was.
So something about this is with creating and with like fostering these concepts of divisions, your vice chair being a division head. I think we will have better convention steering and hopefully better convention communications by regrouping these. We're trying to foster an environment in which we can like have better cohesive communication between these things that make sense together, that correlate in similar spaces. That is not to say that every department will not have communications with every other department and we're going to create silos. No, we're trying to create better communication channels by doing this. And to make it easier for our division heads, the vice chairs, to actually like steer these areas of the convention with that growth mindset.
And similarly,
Someone had a hand raised.
oh, sorry.
Question. Is Mainstage Tech and Technology Services?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
We're
part of our
very
umbrella.
close with programming, so now we're going between two different divisions. I just don't know how that makes sense.
So the umbrella of technology services has changed a lot, and there's basically going to be separate branches of them that will still correlate. And that's where this concept of division steps in. It's not necessarily that you won't be like conversing with programming. It's just that in terms of the core umbrella of the thing that you'll be talking to the most, programming is like one aspect of the things that you'll be talking to.
For me personally, I do main stage lighting. That's it. Some has to do sound and main stage video, and then the other ones, the only other thing that we handle is setting up the programming rooms. We don't really do much else. When it comes to the internet, we always, managed it for hotel department, but we never really wanted to. It was just technically part of the tech contract. It's something that we were just thrown into and don't really care for it.
It's actually part of the facilities contract.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How did that
Oh, it was strong armed. It was
It's not part of the facilities contract. I mean, my other job is to work with facilities for school buses, for the school buses. That takes me 5 minutes.
And that's one of those things where we can kind of like hash out what those connections look like and what those requirements look like a little bit later. But basically the core concept of this rebranding is just to make it easier for us to understand each other. Yeah.
And honestly, it does make sense because I love the Japanese.
I know. Listen, I was very attached to Kyushu. I thought it was so cute, but it didn't mean anything translation.
Yes. There was one I always avoided, but and the other. For fear of saying it wrong. No, it was the Kyushu one.
Kyushu.
No, I didn't say I didn't like it. I avoided it so I didn't mispronounce it. And again, especially in also trying to keep a sort of an equitable number as much as possible within divisions, it was always going to be difficult to say these are the only, programming ones, these are the only sales ones.
Correct. Because there are sales that happen outside of my core area. Doesn't mean that we're going to scoop it all into sales. It just means my core area has a sub focus on sales, money in, money out.
Yep. And again, it's not meant to be a constant work in progress, but it is, something that we'll continually look to evaluate and see is there, as we do with everything, is there a better way to do things, in that sort of thing. So, that was it for that. Let me get back to, we did have a few department head updates. From safety, they've sent email to social media, asking for some posts to go out. Radio requests will hopefully go out in November. If you know of anyone who wants to join staff, they could certainly use the help. And we're working not just with the safety department, with our staffing department and our partner cons on basically badge swaps, reaching out to them in terms of what we've asked our department heads to do is get the numbers that they need in their department, or if they have specific areas in their department, to get those needed numbers to the staffing department, so that when the applications are coming in, they can allocate those appropriately and also identify areas of need. And also, similarly, when we're talking to our badge swap partners, we can help funnel people to those correct areas that are in the most need. Obviously, we know that safety is one, um, and whatever else is dictated by the numbers that come from those department heads for those known areas of need. Sherry from Themes, they are currently working on an artist alley poster, um, pin art for merchandise, and new ambassador table banners and backdrop. And let's see. I thought we had one more. Let's see. I think it was just, I think Hope did her own talking. So we'll let Hope do her own talking for volunteers.
Well, I mean, the only thing for volunteers is that I'm going to be sending out emails to themes so that we can start really starting to work on the shirt art along with potentially some other art, maybe, who knows. Um, that's really about it.
Okay. And then I think from carrying over from the department head meeting from both Lee from video and Christina from merchandise is they were both working on hearing back from the bulk of their staff from last event to see who's carrying over and going from there. I don't know if there was any other updates from department heads. If staffing had stuff, we can go with staffing, and then I can go after you guys.
Perfection. Thing number one, please fill out your staff applications. There's a lot of people who are on staff who are in this meeting, online at the meeting, participating online because they have things like staff email, who have not filled out their staff applications, which makes our job a lot harder to do. So please do those. If you are a department head who filled out their staff application before a separate department head application was made, please let us know, because then we can flip you to the proper type of application, at which point you would just need to go in and edit it so you are answering the correct questions. If you filled out your staff application prior to about 20 minutes ago, you are also going to need to go in and edit your application, because as of this year, all staff who requests housing will have the ability to be housed by the convention. Of course, there are some restraints on that, like you can only have members of staff in your room, and the convention has made the choice that we would prefer if alcohol is not kept in rooms that are paid for by the convention, just in terms of things like liability. There are questions related to that on the staffing application, so please make sure those get and filled out. In addition to that, please email staffing@animedetour.com with what the number of staff your department needs so that we can get your Eventimi section properly updated. When you are thinking about those totals, please remember to include, if your department needs to be badged, please include enough staff to keep those badging stations full. Because while we love having volunteers, and the volunteers department with Hope would love to provide you with them, so many people who choose to volunteer. We do not need to have things like badging stations or other areas sitting empty because we do not have volunteers for them. Those spaces still need to be kept, monitored, and kept an eye on. So we need to make sure those numbers are included in your staffing.
Awesome. Yeah, just seconding, make sure you fill out those applications because particularly for stuff like housing and stuff like that, it's going to help us be able to determine obviously the number of rooms that we need and things like that. So it's really going to help with those sorts of things. For the department heads, we are into the budget cycle. We talked about that at the um, leadership meeting. So again, thank you to Kim for getting those things to us. If you did not receive your budget and expenses from last year, please let me or your vice chair know, and we'll get that out to you. Again, if you want any help or collaborate or have a discussion about preparing that for this year, whether you are a veteran head, or we do have a few new department heads, or you are a new department head of a new department, accessibility, another new department. Whichever one.
So nebulous too.
Right.
The problem.
Let us know and we will get those meetings set up so that we can work together and get those questions answered. Again, the idea is that we get those in soon enough so that if we have any questions, we can reach back out to you and make sure that we have the most information that we have from you so that when going over those budgets, we can make the most educated decisions on those before requesting funds from the board the second Tuesday in October. Um, let's see. Just give me 1 second here. Back to a different screen. We are continuing to work with and through discussions with the Millennium about potential use of some space over there for this year. We've had some discussions with some of the department heads. Not sure exactly what that's going to look like over there. The largest spaces that they have available over there are about 5,000 square foot. So that does have an impact on the types of things that we would move over there, or at least the size of things that we would move over there. We do have considerations as well as with you guys what we would want to consider moving over there and the impacts that that would have on the convention. Some of the conversations with coming in from those department heads have been maybe some potential photography space being optimal over there than perhaps what we've had at the Hyatt. Some additional programming space of size for larger panels and things like that. Essentially, I think we're at basically the Regency. Is that right? Regency for the larger panels right now. If we move the manga library folks to the Mirage, then that essentially leaves us with one not already in kind of the regular rotation of panel frames.
So the meeting login page still says June. I can't change that for the Google form.
Yes.
How do we want to go about that?
Yeah, we got people asking about that.
It is flooding the chat and I can't change it. Yeah.
Wait, what do we need to change? I'm so sorry.
Email the chairman.
I'm confused.
Email chair group. Just say you were here.
Cool.
Oh, the sign-in.
Yeah, the sign-in hasn't been
Oh.
working since June.
What? It still says June on it.
Well, does it work?
It works, but it still says June.
Is there a note section on there or anything?
We should have date stamps though when they sign in. It should tell us when they signed in.
It's only if you stamp associated.
It should see your email the chair group and say that you were at today's meeting. We'll sort it out on our end. No reason for you to be further inconvenienced. We'll make sure that there's
Someone's also wondering about where to find the application form for DJs in the chat.
that I would have to refer them to Jason Bruner. That he's our dance coordinator. He's in charge of that. I know that he was implementing an application procedure.
Also, speak up a little bit.
I can put it into the chat.
Sorry, confused. Getting quiet.
Yes.
Normally, people don't tell me that. I got confused by that, telling me to speak up. Usually, it's tone it down.
Now, if you have an AD email that you can
Yes.
send.
It's to use my brain now. Let's see, right here. Mhm. Let me see the things in chat.
I'm not in YouTube Canada. No.
But I could type it out if you
Jason, common spelling dot BRUNER animedetour.com. He's our dance coordinator. So he should be able to give you instructions on what his application process is for the DJs. And okay, back to, so yes, should be able to finalize a few things with the Millennium and see what sort of things we're considering with the Hyatt, and then with the Millennium, and depending on budget, what our priority for spaces over there looks like. Let's see. One of the items that we've been working on, fleshing out a foundation on, is a few people, Ali Hotura, few other people, Kristen, have been working on foundation for starting a charity ball. So there's been a lot of conversation centering around that. That continues. Otherwise, let's see. Let's see. I think that's, we do have a few apartment moves that we're in the process of finalizing. Involves basically Artist Alley, video gaming, and tabletop gaming. Once those are finalized, we'll get that information out. We'll probably end up with a few smaller spaces, probably less, or right around 1,000 square foot. It might be one of those rooms directly across from exhibit hall might end up being open, as well as Skyway A and B, which is where the Manga Lounge used to be. So we may have those rooms in play as far as deciding what potentially to do with those. Outside of that, it's primarily going to be budgets, and then I think our hope will be to start working with Hyatt in building out the room blocks. I believe that obviously that we will be shifting the staffing room block to staffing, and then reservations will just hold on to the rest of the room blocks, Artist Alley, Exhibit Hall, room parties. So if you are one of those department heads, they will probably reach out to you and see if your numbers look the same for this year. And we'll get those links from the Hyatt, and then they will get those links back to you for dissemination to your artists, exhibits, room parties. Obviously, we will have the one they will have the one for staff, and then we will have the one for the general release to the public when we decide to open it up on social media. Just in case there's any confusion, because it seems like every year it depends on if either you haven't been told or if you're new staff. Um, Staff are in direct competition for rooms with the general public. You know, we take the hotel, and again, we take all these little blocks. So staff have their own block of rooms this set aside. So whenever we do release or open the rooms up for the general public, they purchasing these rooms, not your rooms, or if you have access to your rooms first, they are not the same rooms. So there's it's not really a who gets it first sort of thing. They're completely separate. So that's essentially all that we have, like I said, the two big things this month, there'll be budgets and then probably the beginning of October. We'll be looking at doing get you the links for the room blocks when you disseminate them to your folks who should have them. Depends on, because I think room parties doesn't even close usually until January, so. Are there any questions? Concerns, conversations? Updates, further updates from, um, division heads?
Oh, I suppose I forgot to mention, I will be sending out the keep us in your thoughts while you're planning standard email that I send out for you to consider your volunteer needs. Should be the
Right.
bare minimum that you want from us and your optimal goal that you would like from us. I'll be sending that out too. I forgot about that.
Please remember to respond to that, because every year it seems it happens that folks really wish that they had volunteers. I don't want to speak for Hope, but I feel like I can promise that the easiest way to not have volunteers is to request them.
If you don't get me a response to the email, I'm not adding you to my spreadsheet of doom.
Yes, so please respond to the email of what you would like to have for volunteers, so we at least, in conjunction with what Morgan said, we at least know what areas are areas of need, versus it being an immediate need on Thursday or Friday or things like that. That's really all that we have. We are going to try and look at for November's meeting to try and work with the Hyatt and try to maybe combine that a meeting there with folks who want to see their space. Very hard for most of our volunteer staff to do that during the week. So if they are able to do that for us on a weekend day, if what we'll do is we'll send out a email, and if you need to see your space, if you have not yet seen your space, or if you're in a new space, um, or if you we'll look to communicate with you on that. If it's something where you think you just need certain kinds of measurements or something like that, we don't want to take all 26 or 30 department heads and subheads there. It becomes a very long 3-hour tour for so if we can kind of accomplish that in a short period of time, you can task one of us to, hey, can you find out how many outlets are in there, or what's the distance between those two pillars, those sorts of things. We can do that for you. But if you are a new head or you're in a new space, we understand visual learning and things like that. So probably try to do that at the November meeting. We're just waiting for confirmation back from the Hyatt if they'll have someone available to, and if they don't have a property-wide event. So otherwise, very difficult for us to see any spots. So outside of that, if you have any questions after the meeting, as always, feel free to message the staffing folks or the executive team. Otherwise, thank you everybody for. Nope. No, don't email us. Huh?
You don't end just
Okay. What do we do? Oh,
Did you hear me when I said I
I
need?
thought you said you wanted to talk.
No, not to you.
Oh. Fair enough. I don't blame you. Yeah. I'm like,
I was like, yeah, understandable.
fair enough. Well, now we're hearing from Kim.
No, just speak loudly.
I'm on camera. I don't have to.
If you want to stand
Camera
behind it,
here.
the camera.
Listen. So it's been a long time since I've done this. Sorry. This is Kim. For anybody who's on YouTube or whatever doesn't know who's talking. So just a couple of reminders. First, obviously you all know that the end of the fiscal year is this month. So if for some reason you have some reimbursement check or money that you need returned to you soon, would be nice. If you expect to be able to get a reimbursement for this year. And then I am trying to push reimbursements out of the check age and into the electronic age as much as possible. So especially since there's going to be two of us now. The best, thanks a lot, buttons. So that's I'm done. Sorry, I love you, Cam. First up would be Zelle. Your bank accepts Zelle. It's fast, it's easy, there's no fee, it's like practically instantaneous. So if your bank at all can do it, that would be great. The other option is PayPal. They're the only two that I have. Obviously I can write a check, not a big deal. But I would prefer to be able to get you your money faster and quicker, as I'm sure Sky will only have electronic abilities. Because she won't have the checkbook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I guess as all of you know, I am trying to transition out of the organization that I've been a part of for like 15 years now. Seems like forever, and I'm sure you're all sick of me, so.
Never.
Sky, who used to be with Detour, this is Sky. She was with the safety crew back under me a long time ago.
Like 2009, 2010.
This is the convention.
We need a treasurer first. We get no budget, John.
Should just be silent, so game on.
Payroll, background, tax background, so please don't scare her away. I will be with her throughout the course of this fiscal cycle, so it's always there to help her out. And I have divvied up, she has her first 12 departments she's gonna head. Artist Alley, exhibit hall, cosplay, tabletop gaming. I did give her one bad one, guests, but I'm sure Olivia will be very
Oh, yeah.
gentle. IT, logistics, marketing, photography, programming, room parties, and volunteers. The work staff is division head most of those. So when the new cycle starts here coming up in October 1st, if you have, purchases that need to be made or reimbursements and stuff, that's your department. That will go under Scott. She does have the Detour email address. It is sky.detour.com. Scott, just like the blue sky above you. So, just welcome her.
Thank
Keep
you.
believe her, she will be beginning now.
Awesome. Well, sorry that I misinterpreted
It's okay.
that. That was on me. Okay. If there's anything else, or anything else that I clearly misunderstood, then we'll close the meeting. If there's anything afterwards, please, again, feel free to email us. Otherwise, we will see everybody in October. All right. Thank you. Anything?